So when discussing greatest common factor and least common multiple, one thing that you have to take into consideration is, well, what's the problem asking? Because when you start looking at the word problems, you start looking at the real life application, then you go, oh, wait a second, should I be using least common multiple here? Should I be using greatest common factor? Is this just a division problem? So you need to start looking for keywords or phrases or types of situations that lend themselves to be greatest common factor or least common multiple. So we're going to look at some of those today. So first of all, how do I decide the strategy to use to solve a story problem? Specifically, greatest common factor and least common multiple. And the big overall key phrase to remember for anything, any type of problem, all through math, is going to be first, read the problem and watch for some key words. There's always key words that will tell you, is this an add, subtract, multiply, divide? Is this a mean, median, and mode? Is this GCF, LCM? So you need to look for certain things. So we're going to start with GCF. All right? So look for words like arrangement, break, greatest, most, biggest, divide into, group into, equal amounts. Right? Now notice all of those words show that you are breaking something apart and grouping it. You're dividing it up into sections and grouping it. You're putting them into equal groups usually. Okay? All of that because think about greatest common factor. The greatest common factor is the largest number that will divide two or more numbers evenly with no remainder. So we're going to be breaking it down into smaller groups. So think about greatest common factor as breaking it down. Now be sure and get all of these listed under GCF. I want to make sure you have all of these to refer to when you're doing your own work. Okay, so let's look at least common multiple then. What are some words for that? So go ahead and label least common multiple, and let's get some key words or phrases for there. Okay, obviously least or smallest. Also time, when you start looking at time and equal amounts and things moving forward in time, groups of, when you're buying, every, together again. This last one down here, together again, that's a really big one sometimes you'll notice in least common multiple, is you'll notice that they're asking when if they start here, when will they come back together again? Okay? That especially is a least common multiple phrase. Okay, so let's look at a few more then. So let's take some examples. If a problem asks you to arrange something into rows or groups, what do you think that is? Okay, go back to your list. Check that out. Keyword arrange should be under GCF. Okay, you need to be writing these down too. Okay, so make sure you get this. Arrange something into rows or groups, and you're going to put GCF beside that. Okay, let's try another one. If a problem asks you to find how many people to invite. Okay, you're kind of breaking it up into groups, I guess, of sorts. It's probably a GCF. If a problem asks you to split something into smaller parts. Now, you'll notice, let's look at our keywords and phrases. I see the word split. That's under my GCF keywords. But I also see the keyword smaller here. And smaller should tell me least common multiple, right? All right, now here's where I'm looking at the verb, the action verb, the one that's telling me what I'm doing. Okay, split something into smaller parts. This is the verb that's telling me what's going on. Okay, this is just modifying the parts. This is just an adjective here, telling me what kind of parts. I'm splitting, so I'm making something into smaller parts, which means that is GCF. All right, what about if a problem asks you to find an event that repeats over and over? That over and over, or that repeating thing, okay, coming together again, that is going to be LCM. All right, well, what if, didn't mean to do that. Let's try that again. Yeah, find an event that repeats over and over again. That's LCM. What if the problem asks you to find something that happens at the same time? So something started at the same time, when is it going to happen again at the same time? Well, that also is LCM. And what if the problem asks you to buy or get multiple things? Okay. Notice that word multiple there. They're getting larger groups of things. They're moving moving forward, packaging large groups. You want to see how many do you need to buy so that you have the same amount kind of thing. And that also is LCM. So, key thing here, look at the key words and phrases, but more importantly, read the problem, read it carefully, read it several times, and just ask yourself, what's it asking me to find? Am I needing to break things into smaller groups? Am I needing to divide things down? It's a good chance it's GCF. Am I moving forward, multiplying things? Am I coming back together again at a later time in the future? Good chance that it's least common multiple. Okay, those are some key things to look for. And then ultimately, with any word problem, answer the question. Make sure you answer what the question asks for. The question won't say, find the GCF. The question might say, how many people will be in this group? That's the question that you need to answer. But you may need the GCF for it. Or how many hot dogs and hot dog buns do I need to buy? Well, maybe that's least common multiple. You need to use that to find the answer, but then answer the actual question. All right, I'll see you in class tomorrow.